Right now at 6, a third person accused in connection with a Vancouver child sex abuse case.
We do have serious concerns for community safety in this case.
Plus, 2 very different accounts of the moments before an off-duty deputy shot and killed a neighbor's dog.
He followed me everywhere when he was my best friend.
And later, gyms tell you to put your valuables here, but now they're getting stolen.
And this crew has figured out the ability to pop these lockers open.
How you can avoid becoming this alleged crime ring's next target.
But first at 6, a second man is now under arrest in connection with a growing child sex abuse investigation in Vancouver, one that already involves a pediatrician and a medical assistant. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Warning, some of the details here are disturbing. Let's go right to Jake Holter, who is in court in Clark County. And Jake, it sounds like this new suspect may have been the one who brought those men together.
61-year-old William Snyderwine in court Friday for conspiracy to commit child molestation and tampering with evidence.
We do have serious concerns for community safety in this case.
Prosecutors say Snyderwine introduced Chad Hartley and Dr. Michael Wilmington, a pediatrician, who have already been accused in the case. They met at a nudist bowling event.
And the defendant was encouraging them to get together and for Mr. Hartley to bring the victim to meet with Dr. Wilmington.
Hartley is charged with child molestation and multiple counts of dealing and possessing child pornography. Wilmington was facing a felony warrant for child molestation for allegedly hosting naked sleepovers with young kids at his home, but he was found dead of an apparent suicide.
So the defendant was aware of his 2 friends having warrants done on their homes last week and then took steps to destroy his own evidence prior to BPD coming to his house yesterday.
And prosecutors say these weren't his only crimes.
But there is another chat where the defendant is encouraging somebody else to sexually offend against their child.
Prosecutors say Snyderwine also has a previous sexual misconduct conviction from 1998 involving a 14-year-old in Indiana.
Some trouble with Jake's mic there. With that information, a judge set Snyderwine's bail at $750,000. He didn't have a defense lawyer yet, though, so he'll be returned to court on Monday. A reminder, if you or someone you know is a survivor of sexual assault, help is available 24/7. One of the best places to start, this number is the National Sexual Assault Hotline, 800-656-4673. We're learning more this evening about what Washington County authorities call an organized crime ring, a group of thieves targeting local gyms and cracking open lockers, specifically those meant to keep your valuables safe. John Adams explains how they're pulling it off and what you can do to protect your wallet.
Beaverton police say the thieves are visiting local gyms, breaking into lockers to steal credit cards before spending that money quickly at local stores.
Officer Matt Henderson says the difficult thing about this scheme is gym members are doing everything right.
People are taking their personal belongings in, they're putting them into lockers in the gym, they're locking them, and then they're going and working out. And this crew has figured out the ability to pop these lockers open.
The thieves are taking credit cards but leaving the rest of the wallet behind, buying them enough time to get to stores like Costco or Best Buy to make big purchases.
Within 30 minutes, they've already committed this crime. They've already racked up potentially tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt or criminal activity on this person's credit card.
In one incident on April 30th, these 3 men coordinated to steal a credit card from a Beaverton gym and quickly opened up a Costco membership with that person's information. They used the stolen credit card to purchase close to $19,000 in gold bars from Costco. BPD believe these men are connected to similar theft and fraud cases throughout the western United States.
This crime team is really what they are, has really figured out a way to just commit these crimes quickly.
Henderson says the best way people can protect themselves is to leave their credit cards at home and to store card information on their phone with services like Apple Pay.
If you can get your ability to purchase things on your phone or on your watch, do that. It's a lot harder for criminals to steal that.
If you know anything about this crime ring or recognize the individuals in these photos, you're asked to reach out to Beaverton Police. John Adams, KGW News.
Let's get to your headlines now. An Albany mother detained by ICE agents nearly 4 months ago while shopping for socks is now out of custody. Maria Loya Medina was released from the Tacoma ICE Detention Center this morning. The 44-year-old who's lived in the U.S. for more than 2 decades was arrested in January. A federal judge ruled Thursday that her constitutional right to due process had been violated, ordering her release. DHS says Medina had previously been removed from the country and illegally re-entered the U.S. Her immigration case remains on appeal. The father who shot another dad in the drop-off area of a Portland Islamic school has now been sentenced to 12 years in prison. A jury finding Nuruddin Dib guilty on all charges relating to the 2024 shooting, including attempted murder. Security video of the incident you just saw shows Dib walking up to a car. The two men start talking, and eventually Michael Zakarneh is shot. Dib's defense team arguing the shooting was self-defense, and the two men had prior history. In major tech news, Intel has reportedly worked out a deal to produce chips for Apple. The deal, reported by the Wall Street Journal, would mark a major shift in the chip-making landscape. The news sent Intel stocks climbing, shares closing up 14% at nearly $125 apiece. It's another positive sign for the tech giant, which has seen a major surge in value over the last year, driven by AI demand and federal investments, plus partnerships with companies that include NVIDIA and SpaceX. Both Intel and Apple declined to comment. Oregon's Public Utility Commission just cleared the way for PGE and other utilities to charge data centers more for the electricity they use. The commission approved some elements of PGE's proposal to charge its customers based on how they contribute to growth in energy demand. Those include creating a new customer class specifically for large load data centers. Those facilities are then responsible for 100% of the cost of expanding the network to serve them. And a Southeast Portland park just got some major upgrades in the form of a new inclusive playground. The Raymond Park Playground now features smooth rubber surfacing and diverse play elements like sensory stations, group rockets, and a communication board. The upgrades are part of a Portland Parks Foundation initiative called Everybody Plays, with this playground being the first of 3 major upgrades.
Playgrounds are where community comes together. It's how families thrive in our city, and it's a fantastic new play space. And we wanted to provide an opportunity for all the families to come out and celebrate with each other.
I have no idea what Dylan was doing photobombing the interview there. Parks and Rec also improved drainage to keep the splash pad open just in time for summer. In case you hadn't noticed, we have made it to Friday. So gorgeous, Matt, that it deserved a visit to the KGW weather deck. How's it feeling up there?
It feels good. The clouds have come in a little bit, but still bright enough to wear the shades. And we had a nice gentle breeze too. Great day to hit any of the Portland parks, as we just heard, right? Let's take you to Vancouver. Our camera at the Springs at the waterfront, looking out over the Columbia River. It's just a beautiful scene there. Temperature is holding in the 60s up at Vancouver as we look at our Vancouver Skycam. And you know what? We're going to continue to have great weather. 69 degrees there right now. That's the high temperature in Vancouver for the day. Let's check out what's happening around the low temperatures that we had this morning. Got chilly in some spots, down to 47 in Aurora and McMinnville. Over in eastern Oregon, though, boy, did it ever get chilly. We had a low at 28 up in the northeast mountains at Meacham, the Blue Mountains, Prineville and Sun River, both dropped down to 34. So even with these warm afternoons, we're still very capable this time of the year of having some chilly mornings, even getting below freezing in parts of eastern Oregon, as you can see. So what about tomorrow? Well, as we look ahead, we're going to have really good weather as we go into the weekend. Some morning clouds tomorrow, then a lot of sun. Mother's Day will be a little bit cooler, but still very pleasant. Morning clouds, they break up in the late afternoon. We'll end up in the low to mid 70s. So really great conditions for moms and everybody out there, making the day great for them. David?
Looking good. Thanks, Matt. Developing this evening, a Vancouver family has some big questions after an off-duty sheriff's deputy, a neighbor, shot and killed their German Shepherd. Celine Stevens is live in Vancouver. Celine, it sounds like there's a bit of a backstory here. What'd you learn?
David, definitely. And, according to the Skamania County Sheriff's Office, they say that dog aggressively charged a deputy, Boris Kioroglo, and after he used that taser, he then shot that dog to death with his gun. And you can actually see a sign right here on the owner's property behind me that says, "We miss you, Dodger." That owner today telling me that this deputy has had issues with her dogs for years, but some of the neighbors I spoke with today tell me they haven't had a problem.
Right when he was down on the ground already tased, Boris took his gun out and shot him 3 times.
Leanna Ingalls was just a few minutes away from her Vancouver home on Wednesday when she learned her 9-year-old German Shepherd named Dodger was shot.
And then I seen the message where he said, Boris shot Dodger. And I think my heart stopped.
Dodger, killed by her neighbor, Skamania County Sheriff's Deputy Boris Kioroglo. According to the sheriff's office, Kioroglo had just returned from work, and the dog was circling his patrol car. When he got out the car, the sheriff's office says Dodger aggressively charged him. He tried to use his taser first, which was ineffective, before resorting to his gun. But neighbors, telling a different story, acknowledging the dogs were outside, but that they were friendly.
They ran up to me and they were pretty friendly. Like, I stuck my hand out to pet him and one of them sniffed me. He drove by in his squad car looking like he was leaving the neighborhood, and he asked me if they were my dogs. I told him no, they weren't my dogs. And he goes, oh, okay.
Cody Romano says the deputy turned around in his car and went back home right across from where Ingalls lives.
And he pretty much blocked in the dogs there, and I figured he had it handled. Within 2 minutes after I saw him do that, I heard the dog yelp, and 30 seconds after I heard the dog yelp, I heard 3 gunshots.
Ingalls says witnesses have told her Dodger was not being aggressive and was several feet away from Kioroglo.
I was really going to be pissed because my house is so quiet. He followed me everywhere I went. He was my best friend. He was such a good dog.
She says Kioroglo previously threatened her dogs before and always had a problem with them. However, animal control confirmed Dodger was involved in a bite incident in May of 2024, and last summer they got a report of 2 dogs running and acting aggressive outside.
And I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. That was really hard. He's literally my best friend.
So I don't know why he stopped what he was doing to do what he did. There was no reason for that.
So Ingalls says that she wants that deputy charged and his gun taken away. But according to the Clark County Sheriff's Office, they say that they were not able to identify any eyewitnesses, they were not able to find any video evidence, and no charges are being filed at this time as it's being handled as a civil matter. Now, I called that deputy's phone number this afternoon, and someone who I assume was him picked up the phone, told me not to call that number again, and said his agency has already released a statement. David?
All right, lots of questions there in Vancouver. Celine Stevens tonight. Thanks, Celine.